Let's talk about transits today. Another interesting and beautiful aspect of astrology. I keep talking about transits. Keep talking about astrology in terms of beautiful because I find astrology a beautiful and a mesmerizing subject. So, transits are a very beautiful aspect of astrology, for the planets never stop. There is only one constant thing in this world, in this universe, and that is change. There is always constant motion in this universe, and the planets are no different. They're always moving. So one transit that we see, one transit that we make is that of Mars moving into Mula. Now this is an interesting transit. Why is it interesting? Because Saturn is already present into Mula and it's in the fourth pada, and in the next fortnight we see Mars transiting that. So there is going to be a happy mix here. Now, before we move on to Mula, before we move on to Mars and Saturn, let's move on to Mula and see what its basic nature is all about. Mula is that planet, that nakshatra, which is ruled by Nirrti. That is the goddess of destruction. And one of its principles, the Trimurti principles that is of belonging to Mula, is operating for Mula, is Lord Brahma. Now, Lord Brahma is creativity personified. So, one hand we are talking about destruction, on the other hand we are talking about creativity. How is it possible? Is there not a paradox in this statement? If you look at it superficially, I would agree to you and say that yes, there is definitely a strong paradox that is being reflected. But on a very, very profound level, this is not a paradox. I take up just one example. Sow a seed somewhere, and then go back and see after a few days or a couple of weeks as to what has happened to that seed. You would realize that the seed has started letting out roots and it has started giving up shoots just in a couple of days, and in a matter of weeks there is absolutely no sign of that seed. The seed has disintegrated long back to give rise to a sapling, to a plant, young plant, and that young plant is trying to flourish its, or show itself up into the world. So this is what creation is all about. There is a seamless flow of destruction with creation to maintain the balance of nature. And this is the crux of this universe. So the Mula is a very, very important nakshatra from where creation and destruction both occur. This is a profound truth about Mula. So those people who are afraid of this nakshatra need to take a good look at this truth and know that the workings of the universe are seamlessly aided by this nakshatra, and there's absolutely no failure. One thing that this nakshatra also does is that it works in everybody's favor. Over a long period of time, we may not find that this nakshatra is working for us at this juncture, but over a long period of time, we will realize that this nakshatra has done us a great favor. And it pressurizes the person to work hard, or rather the pressure that it plays on the person can be really daunting. But then if you realize that this is over a period of time going to work in our favor, because the planets have just one duty: to help the person redeem the karma, one, and two, if they have to work on such a level that this person would move on to a better living style, it could move on to a better plane for that matter. So this nakshatra is a strong nakshatra in terms that it induces a lot of changes in life. It brings about a radical change in life. Now we've covered the nakshatra bit when the transit is concerned. The second part that we need to cover here, that is Saturn and Mars. What is Saturn? Saturn is an airy planet. How does it affect us? Saturn is calm, composed, it is an administrator, it likes things in a very, very streamlined manner. There has to be a system, there has to be a form as far as Saturn is concerned. And now when it comes to working things out, Saturn is also known as Manda. Saturn calling Manda means that the slow one. So everything that is associated with Saturn, be it if it's your 9th house, it is your father could be slow in his activity but very thorough. If it's your 3rd house, your brother, your father-in-law could be slow in their work, but they would be very thorough. So Saturn, anything associated with Saturn is slow but definitely thorough. And they are on time. Time is another factor that Saturn takes great care of because it is time personified. Another thing that Saturn is that whatever it does very, very slowly. It does very, very thoroughly. So it has to have a plan B before we move on to plan A. Now Mars is the energy planet. It is always on the go. It works and then it sees the results. There is never a plan B. You evolve the plan as it comes. So there is a tussle for the native. What does the native do? The native is torn between the two. On one hand, there has to be a plan. There has to be a B plan 2 too. And there's on the other hand, there is working on a project, evolving it as we go. On one hand, there is an upfront approach. On the other, there is a calculative approach. So what does the native do? The native is torn. But if we take a second off, if we just put that energy on hold and take a step backward and assess the entire situation, we are mesmerized by that. Because in even a small amount of awareness, we will learn so many things. So this is Saturn and Mars conjunction in Mula. Having said this, let us see how this is going to affect all the Lagnas. Now, because first we need to unravel what happens when Saturn and Mars combines in your awareness. When Saturn and Mars combine in your awareness, it gives a very strong technical hold to the person. It gives the person an ability to work in a very constructive manner to make things happen, as is with the Jupiter, because Jupiter provides that energy, Jupiter provides that incentive, energy provided by Mars, and incentive and the opportunities provided by Jupiter. So this is a beautiful relationship that will come up when Mars and Saturn combine in Mula, and Mars, Jupiter, Saturn throw their combined energy at Gemini. This is something that we are going to cover up in this set of 2 to 3 videos and see how this is going to affect each and every Lagna for the transit. The transit of Mars in Sagittarius is just for 2 months, from 7th of March to 4th of May. But these 2 months are going to be very settling months, are going to be a very path-breaking months in one direction, because though you feel that once the transit is over, things would come back to normal. Normal meaning come back, return to as it were. It never happens. Time never goes back. You only move step ahead. So any change induced in your life is to take you 1 step forward and not 2 steps backward. With this, let us move on to Sagittarius Lagna and see what effect does Mars and Saturn have for Sagittarius Lagna. Saturn is the lord of the 2nd and the 3rd house, and Mars is the lord of the 5th and the 12th houses. So in this case, for Sagittarius Lagna, this combination affects these houses as such. As per me, it's most likely that you could be going in for a wealth generation or a new kind of a venture that would help you to make more wealth for yourself, and it could involve foreign travels too. It could be a time when your children would be needing you, you would need to be assisted by them, or they would need to be assisted by you. There's some sort of newness coming into the life of your children also. Your partner would be requiring some of your attention, and rightly so. And there is this time when you need to take up courageous decision, a pre-planned, well-worked-out decision, which will help you a lot, cementing your future with your partners also, not just personally, even on the professional front. So let's get on to Capricorn Lagna. How does this combination affect the Capricorn Lagna? What is all about this transit for Capricorn Lagna? For Capricorn Lagna, Mars is the lord of the 4th and the 11th houses, and Saturn is the Lagna lord and the 2nd lord. Mars is also a Badhaka. So for this Lagna, the venture that you have started could hastily, without much thought, could also result in a delay because there is lack of funds there. You need to take good care of your health. You need to break the bad patterns. You need to break the bad habits. And it's time for you to formulate good ones. Mother or wife could also help you do so. Take good care of your health because it is the time to be able to develop, let go of the bad ones. Also, if you are in your job or service, it is properly highlighted, and the chances of promotion, movement abroad due to your job. A travel is very much on the cards for you too. Aquarius Lagna and the rest, all the rest 9 Lagnas will be covered in the next video, because this video we have covered the basics and 2 Lagnas. Till then, stay with us. We'll be back ASAP. Bye.